watch in the series 24 by Jack Bauer, there is a guy with Jack Bauer, you would see that there is a president which is held by a female. So let's say if one day Malaysia is going to be controlled, going to be governed by a female leader, a female prime minister, would you agree to that? Okay. Yes, that's all based on your conclusion and your thoughts. Okay, next one, we can look in terms of religion as well. Now, when we talk about prejudice or discrimination, we have to talk about a bit of some sensitive issues. Yeah, Christianity, it has been widely reported that the priest from past years, okay, from decades ago, there have been reported cases of molesting children. So now this case, they really sadden people, okay, because they are the trusted people to take care of the people, but instead they turn out to be the ones victimizing the victims. Yeah. So how would you look in terms of Christianity? Some people who are Muslim would view Christianity more negatively, okay? Because when we do that, we become selective, okay? Or we call it self-fulfilling prophecy. Or next one, we look in terms of Islam. When we talk about Islam, then we relate to terrorism, okay? We talk about Al-Qaeda, okay? Or Abu Sayyaf, okay? Now these people, they do things in a huge scale. So they make an impact which can affect the world and even to publish it in the media. So now when people publish it, when people read this in a newspaper, they might view that Islam it's connected to terrorism. But is that true? Now we'll look into this kind of things. Okay, it is important that you know and you understand what kind of stereotype that you have inside your mind. Okay. Now to start off with, before Black Eyed Peas became famous, their first song was called "Where Is the Love?" Okay, it's a very famous song. Now people ask if where is the love? Okay, people keep questioning about the existence of love, that we need love to save the world, to stop the war, to help one another. Okay, to stop poverty. Okay. It might be very easy to sing the song, but how many people are courageous enough to do it into action? Okay, one people would be Mother Teresa and also Mahatma Gandhi. Okay, now where is the love? We start with thinking about ourselves. Okay, are we loving enough to be able to love others, or are we selfish enough to keep our own stereotypes and then we discriminate people using our own prejudice in judging people? Okay. Now, we have to talk about this topic because it involved stereotype. It doesn't just involve small things that I have discussed just now, elections, religions, or the social level issues. Okay. Now, some of the famous things that we have. We talk about Hitler. Hitler had an Holocaust on the Jews. He wanted to wipe out all the Jews, okay? So why did he do that? You look back at what he was thinking, his prejudice and his stereotype, okay? Now, or we can look at the Pol Pots, okay? The killing field in Cambodia, or instances of Saddam Hussein. He tried to wipe out the Kurds group in northern Iraq and also the Shiites in southern Iraq, okay? And also some cases happen in the slaughter of non-Arabs in Western Sudanese, okay? Now, if we come back to this recent world, we can see more of serious cases whereby, for example, there is a bombing in the London subway, okay? Who did this, okay? And before I begin, what I hope that the people would not confuse with is the issue of religion or the issue of race and the issue of country, okay? Being an American country doesn't mean that the country is based on Christian value, or being in Libya doesn't mean that they are extremists, okay? So we have to be certain and be careful when we jot down things or when we start to group things together. Now, Of course, we start to the basic. We say we don't like people to discriminate us, but then we discriminate people. We don't like people to put stereotypes on us, but then we put stereotypes on other people. And then we have prejudice onto other people, okay? We don't like that to happen to us, but we do this to other people. So let's trace back to a long time ago. How did this started, okay? If you have followed the past tutorial, you would realize that human beings are social beings. We are a bit of our kind, we are a bit of selfish and a bit of possessive, okay? To some extent, we have to group things in a group. We place them in a group so that we don't have to think too much of a certain thing, okay? Now when I think of Israelites, I would think of them as a certain kind of people, or I think of Palestine. It's very easy for me to reflect back, okay? And that's why prejudice might come up from that, okay? And there's many other reasons to it. So we go along the way and we try to understand more onto this topic. Now, introduction, to start with, have you been discriminated before, okay? Have you been discriminated because of your age, or your gender, or even your qualification? Some people, they are discriminated because they are all overqualified to hold a certain position, okay? Now, when we talk about discrimination, some terms, they involve together as well. We have racism, we have stereotype, we have discrimination, we have prejudice. Now, so how do you differentiate between these four of them, okay? Now we go through and then you understand, and it's very important for you to understand. Now, to terms prejudice, it's an unjustifiable attitude towards a group or its member, involve your stereotype beliefs, your negative feelings, and also a predisposition to discriminatory action. Now, prejudice, it's a negative word. It is not a positive word. And you would have negative feelings towards a group, okay? Now, to look at prejudice, first you look in terms of your attitude. What is your attitude? It's quite a negative attitude towards other people, okay? Next one, we look in terms of stereotype. Now, what is stereotype? Stereotype is a generalized belief about a group of people. You can have a stereotype on guys, on girls, on CEOs, or on a female boss, okay? Some people want to say about a female boss that they are really bossy and they lack some kind of left, okay? Now, we are doing stereotyping in this case, okay? Or we talk about people, females, they don't know anything. These are called stereotypes as well, okay? Now, is it accurate or not? Sometimes it is accurate, sometimes it is correct, but sometimes it is overgeneralized, okay? Now, in the case whereby in America, let's say the example, it's easier for me to put it in that way. America, they are mostly white people, but then they have the African Americans, which are brought in by the slaves, okay? Now, if you are going to live, let's say if you are an African American, are you going to be being stereotyped and live in that condition, okay? Sometimes you have to grow out of that condition, even though people label us in that way, yeah? Now, an example of stereotype might be even Islam and terrorism. Now, if you look at this graph, Islam it's huge. I would say it's huge. It consists of about 1 billion to 2 billion of population in this earth consists of Muslims, okay? But we look in terms of terrorism, they don't consist all and they are not the same actually. So you look, they have similarities, okay? What the problem happened is that people use the word for their own benefit. People use the name of God. People use the name of God for their own benefit, okay? That's what happened. That's what often happen. Now, discrimination, we look in terms of behavior. When you start to discriminate someone, you show it through your action, okay? You can discriminate someone who doesn't have a proper body as you. You discriminate them by laughing or throwing stones at them, okay? You can discriminate people who do not look good or who do not look better than you. you discriminate people who have lower qualification than you, or you discriminate people who doesn't even dress well, and because you think you dress better than other people. Okay, this